driving back. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the final installment of 2025's Husker Heat. I sit before you a shell of a man after driving all night back from the Super Regional down in Knoxville. Basically, I just popped my article, hit the press conference, and jumped in the car, and off I went. I would, if I'd driven straight through, I would have gotten home around 4 in the morning. But I did stop for a nap once, so I actually came in during sunrise.
Did you nap at a rest stop?
What's that? Yeah. Yeah, there was like a packed rest stop, trucks, cars, and just everybody pulled over sleeping or whatever.
That's the end of it.
What's that?
That's the end of it.
Yeah, why not? And yeah, it got in here for a cloudy sunrise, and I think it was some more rain too. But anyway, it was beautiful down in Knoxville. Oh, all right. Before I forget, as always, welcome my lovely daughter, Miley Ketterson, who spent the pre-show flipping me off repeatedly. She's just a sweetheart, isn't it? She's the only person that can make flipping the bird kind of adorable. So, Miley, say hi. Tell us about your weekend or your day or whatever.
Well, I went to a wedding.
You had to go to a wedding?
Yeah.
Who got married?
Connor's husband.
Okay, not the one I met in Louisiana.
No. He's a college friend.
Okay, yeah. I can't remember if I said that on the show, but I found out when I was down in Baton Rouge and we were playing southeastern Louisiana that Connor, Miley's now fiance, has had a friend down there at the game, and they saw him slamming a beer back. And so I thought it'd be funny to, hey, what if I go scare him a little? And it's like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Hey, your mother saw you. Yeah, who cares? So they sent me a picture of him, and I found him. He was like the only guy in the section with this green, SLU T-shirt on. And I walked up and just kind of tapped him on the shoulder and said, excuse me, is your name Andrew? And he's like, yeah, who are you? And I said, well, I'm supposed to tell you to watch slamming beers on national TV. You probably ought to stop that. And I didn't say anything else. And he was like, what? Oh, what? And I'm like, no, I'm a friend of Connor Smith's. And he's like, oh, geez. And he goes, I thought maybe you were like a friend of my boss or something. And so it's like, the best thing there was just not tell them who the hell I was and let the imagination run wild, and it worked. So that was fun. So season's over, and once we got over the pain of like having that 1-0 lead on Tennessee and then losing 2 in a row, started looking back, and it really was like a fantastic season. Their best in like at least 10 years. They won their first game 5-2, but then Carlin Pickens started shutting them down some. They lost 3-2 and 2-1. Jordy threw 3 tough games. She pitched all 21 innings, and the way she was pitching at the end of that game, after a home run in the first, and shuts them out for the next 6 innings. And we had a lot of people that if she ever had a rough patch, they're playing her too much, they need to rest Jordy. And I think Rhonda told people repeatedly, that she's in fantastic shape. I think she mentioned to us once after the game that she's probably, might be the best conditioned player on the team. So there really wasn't, I think, any serious chance of her just getting wiped out. Somebody asked the Southern Louisiana players and coach after one of their games, said, so what's it like, you play 2 games in one day, come back, play a game the next day. And I started laughing. I didn't play fast pitch. I played a lot of softball. I used to play 90, 100 games a summer for year after year, and just become a walking scab at some point. But every tournament you go to, you can end up playing on a Saturday and Sunday. You can end up playing like 5 or 6 games in 2 days, and that's what these players said. They're like, well, playing up through high school and everything, said we were always playing 2-3 games a day, so no big deal. And so pitching 1 game a day, I just didn't think that was the kind of thing that was going to wipe her out. But anyway, they finished the season 43-15, 17-5, good for a tie for second place in the Big Ten that added 4 pretty good Pac-10 teams. Well, 3. Southern Cal didn't have a team, but you had Oregon and UCLA, which were both ranked top 10. Washington was right around 30, like 30th all season. So it added a lot of. What's Connor doing?
He's not in here.
Oh, I was like, what's that noise?
I don't know what that was.
I was going to say, what'd you feed that poor guy? But then they tied for 3rd in the Big Ten tournament. They were the Baton Rouge region, won the Baton Rouge regional, ranked 19th in all four ranking services, ESPN/USA Softball, D1 Softball, Softball America, and USA Today /NFCA, the Coaches Association. They finished with an RPI of number 22, and their strength of schedule ended up at number 31. You run through the regionals, you're playing highly ranked tough teams, and that jumped them up about 10 spots or more. And the Big Ten Conference was ranked number 4th toughest in the country, behind the SEC, ACC, and Big 12. And then they have a category called ELO. I don't know what it stands for, but it's basically your ranking when only considering the Division I opponents you faced. And Nebraska was number 15 in the country in that. So, bully on them. And so I guess at this point, you start thinking about next year already, and it becomes an exciting thing to think about. They're not losing a whole lot. They're losing Ava. Their 2 big ones are losing Ava Bredwell as a senior, and they're losing Abby Squire, who started most of the season in left field when she was slumping. They had her down for a while, but she got it back at the end of the year and played through. And then they're losing reserves McKinley Maleka and Hayden Warner. And Hayden Warner, I just mentioned her because she's actually a junior, but she's graduated. She got her degree in 3 years, so she's graduating and calling it quits for softball. Yeah.
If you're graduating and she doesn't play, why not?
Yeah. And they probably, it might be a case too of, I don't know that how if it's like football where they'll, if you're not performing, they'll nudge you off the roster, but now it's like you can fill that roster spot with a new development, recruit somebody and develop them. But geez, here's who we've got coming back. At DP, we've got Olivia DiNardo and Emerson Cope. At first base, Bella Bacon, and then Jordy had played first sometimes when she didn't pitch. Laura Kamenzend is back at second. Sam Bland's back at third. Ava Cusak's at short. So we've got the entire infield, two really good DP options. And then the outfield, we've got Hannah Kamenzend and Casey Hoffman. And then you have Jordy Bahl that started playing outfield at the end of the year on her off days. And then you had Natalia Hill, who barely hit, but was playing center field pretty much for the last part of the season. So you're bringing back like starters almost everywhere. And then coming back in the circle is Jordy, Hannah, Kylie McGee, and Emerson. So let's talk a little bit right now about holes to fill next year. And right away, what would you say is the biggest hole that needs to be filled?
I mean catcher.
Well, yeah, you need a new catcher. That's fine. But I mean, it's one where we've got. Let me give you a bigger hint. We've got players coming back at that position, but we might need something better. Who did you? I don't want to say who did you complain about the most.
Kylie McGee.
Well, but I mean, not to single her out. We just need a stronger second option.
Yeah.
And we got away with it in the postseason because the Big Ten tournament was single elimination, one game a day. So Jordy was just going to pitch every day. We got away with it in the regional because we won the winner's bracket game on Saturday. Well, we won Friday, then won the winner bracket game Saturday, and got Jordy out of both those games after 3 innings. So and the pitching did hold up for us in those 4 innings, but they were coming in both games where we had a 7-0 lead after 3 innings. And you can bet if it got too chippy, we were probably going to be throwing Jordy right back in there. But we do need an upgrade at pitcher.
Has Olens entered the portal?
I don't know what their portal dates are. They probably don't open the portal after the World Series.
It's been open.
Huh?
It's been open.
Oh, that's right, because that Auburn girl entered it the day after they lost.
I mean, a Husker chick entered the portal for the Super Regional.
A Husker did?
Yeah.
Who?
Macy Vickers.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, I better cross her off. I was thinking she might be one of the catcher options, but that must mean she's not a catcher option. I had her second behind Carly Mulebach because I noticed they had her high school stats and she only allowed 1 stolen base in like 87 innings of catching in high school. And that's what they need. That was, but you're right that when you said Bredwell, because they've got to replace her arm or do as best they can because she threw people out. She had a cannon. She had a couple of errant throws in the regional, but that was the exception, not the rule. But yeah, those are the 2 areas that stick out the most that we do need. We will replacement in one case and an upgrade in the other. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Olensky. What I suspect is happening is that the injury lingered because she tore the pectoral, and I'm just wondering if she's going for a medical red shirt. I looked up the red shirt rules. I was thinking it's like they say football, they let you play 4 games. I think most sports now you get to play like a small percentage of the games. Softball
games.
What's that?
Volleyball, you don't play single second.
Yep, same with softball. I found out softball's same hard line rule. So they're not just flat red shirting her, but I'm wondering if they're going to try for a medical red shirt, or if she enters the portal, we'll know something probably just didn't click or went wrong. But anyway, yeah, those were the big 2. But yeah, because every other position we're coming back with starters, and we appear pretty loaded. At the press conference after the Tennessee game, it was kind of fun listening to Rhonda talk because she was going, we're talking about like looking quickly ahead to next year, and she was talking about, it's like I want to do better. She goes, it was great to get this far, but we didn't reach our goal of the Women's College World Series. She goes, you know what else I want to do? She goes, I want to be one of the top 8 teams so we can have a crowd going crazy like Tennessee's crowd was. I want to be doing that in front of our home crowd. It was like, yeah, hell yeah. Damn right. So anyway, yeah, that's who's coming back. We're pretty loaded. We got Jordy for 1 more year. Sammy's only a junior. I think Ava's only going to be a junior. She was just a sophomore this year. I think Bella will be a senior next. No, wait, she was freshman last sophomore. Yeah, I think Bella will be a senior next year. Bella Bacon. I'm not sure what year the twins are, the Camensons. I can't remember if they were.
I thought they were
I think they were juniors this year, weren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so they'll be seniors next year. But anyway, now let's talk for a minute about some of the players who should compete next year for playing time. And the first one I'm going to throw out there is Caitlin Canada, because she just had bad luck this year. She got hurt early in the year. I think it was in New Mexico, like the second weekend of the year. She got hurt, and she was a returning 2-year starter at second, and then she's out for a while. And then I think she came back, then right away had to have her wisdom teeth pulled, and so missed another week or two. And by that time, Lauren Camden settled in. She's hitting over 300, making plays, and it just kind of, became her position. But that makes me wonder next year, with a full infield, and if Canada comes back healthy. I mean, her freshman year, she hit 380 and was all conference. So, that might be a case of if she sees that she's going to lose out, you might see her transfer, just to play. Who knows? I put down Alina Felix in the outfield just because, and she didn't play much, but when she did, my God, so she went 3 for 9 and hit 2 homers. But outfield was loaded, and there it is. And then you have Nessa McMillan, who started the season kind of doing what Natalia Hill finished the season. They were both freshmen. She played center field, but didn't hit, but she was a top 50 recruit nationally. When they signed her, I think it was her senior year. I think she played for Blair, and played travel, and she hit 538 with 13 homers, and so. And she made a preseason 50 freshman to watch list this year. So, does she shove her way into that outfield discussion? And then that catcher we mentioned, Carly Muehlbach, she, obviously she knew as a freshman she wasn't going to come in and play with Bredwell here, but she hit 460. I forgot to write down. I think she set like a record for home runs in high school, and then she only allowed the one stolen base. And then Caitlin Olinsky, does she become that number 2 option if it is an injury issue and she does come back healthy? Macy Vickers, and then Kennedy Williams. The 2 I threw in here are Kennedy Williams, who I think did all. She was a 3-sport athlete in high school, all state in softball. I think she led the state in runs scored.
She's a athlete at Nebraska.
Yeah, and although that seemed to be mostly one, but yeah, because she's on the basketball.
She tore her ACL.
What's that?
She tore her ACL.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Looked like she was fully recovered from that this year.
Senior year of high school.
Right. Oh, that's I was going to say no, but that's somebody who's not here anymore. And then Talia Tokheim was another one I kind of looked at because she got injured her freshman year, but it was pounding the crap out of the ball, and then came back the middle of 2024 and was tearing it up, and then got hurt again, and then she just didn't manage to punch her way into one of the starting spots. But that's a heavy bat that maybe something opens up there with Squire graduating. And then real quick, they had all region players, and we're in the mountain region with no mountains. And Jordy, Ava Cusack, and Olivia DiNardo made first team all region. Sammy and Hannah made second team, and Casey Hoffman made third team. And they also just came out. They have regions and they have districts, and I think they had 5 or 6 make all district as well. And I'd suspect I'll pop an article on that in tomorrow, but I assume these 5 might all be on that as well. And it was a record setting year as well. Hey, my background went away. What the heck?
It hasn't been.
I know. I just noticed that. Oh well. I can't believe you didn't say something. You usually like to lay into me a little and call me old and stuff. Yeah. But anyway, and it was a record-setting season. Let's see, what did they set records in home runs, like all-time team records in home runs with 107, extra base hits, and they had 216 going into the Tennessee Regional. Same with runs at 459, but they already had these school records. Their team batting average of 356 going into that weekend, and I imagine it went down a couple points, but I'm sure it was still well ahead, and it's a record for batting average by the team. Slugging average 648 team record, on base percentage 438 team record, and when you add those two up, that OPS of 1.086 is certainly going to be a team record as well. They run 26 of those 43 wins came by run rule, the mercy rule or whatever. And then, what is it? The 26 mercy rule games. And then they became the only team ever to have them hit 4 homers in a row in a game when I believe it was Ava, Jordy, Sammy, and I'm trying to think if that would have been, I don't know if Hannah was up that high in the order yet, but there were 4 in a row in the game. And then Ava Cusack and Sam Bland tied team records by having 3 home runs in one game. I did not know this till I started digging today. They became the first unseeded team in NCAA history to run rule their way through a regional, to win all games by the run rule. So there's something to hang your hat on. Jordy Bahl set a team record with 23 home runs in a season, and the batting average, I think, was 475 going into Tennessee. But went down a little, but I think she was still well out ahead of second place in there. And Ava Cusack, she batted around 420 something, and that's the 4th highest in team history. And then they set a single game attendance record with 3,021, I think, on the Saturday game against Maryland. Ended up with over 7,000 for the 3-game set, which is a record. And they averaged 2,306 a game, which was 4th in the country. So the fans weren't always the loudest, but they were there. Not that I'm constantly urging you to be louder. Tennessee fans' loudness wasn't a problem. We were up. They had press areas. Their press box is more of a sky box. I think that was more of like a place for the big donors to sit or whatever. They had like a little press box in the middle, but I think that was mostly for radio and TV and whatnot. And so they on each side they had they had nice decks. We were working. We had like a ledge we could set our stuff on, and some nice chairs and place to plug in, very key. But the fans could just come up and kind of stand behind us and around us, and they weren't the quiet type. I mean, holy God. I will say this, they were just the embodiment of a certain type of person who is loud, super wrong 90% of the time. The stuff that screaming and complaining was off the charts. Literally, there's the top of the first, and they're in that game 3, and they're losing their minds, and they're it's by us, and they were just on. So they were perfectly nice, at least what I experienced and saw. They were perfectly nice to visiting fans, but they just wanted these umpires like run over by the buses, and just the things they were screaming. And their sense of victimhood was unbelievable. The world was against them. Poor Tennessee. One of them yelled, if you're not going to give us a chance to even win, then just tell us so I can go home. Shit like that. And that was the same guy who also yelled out the line, because they had the one that they did get wrong with the home run off the bleacher deck. Came back in, and we threw her out because she was in her home run trot because she saw it go out. And they're just out of their minds. And I'm just like, do you guys not watch this regularly? They're going to review it, and they're going to overturn it, man. And then which they do, and they're screaming at him while they're reviewing. And then they're screaming at him when he comes back out, and everybody's, come on, and yelling at him. And it has changed. Yeah. And then a good chunk of them are screaming at him even after they corrected it. And it's like, you just better not be doing any. I can feel them thinking behind me. bullshitting. Like, thinks really he does. He goes like, you better not doing any more of that bullshitting. Just like, that's it. That's what 4 seconds of thinking got. So, and like I said, most of them were fine, but good Lord, and I had the game up, in the little corner of the TV on ESPN, and the TV's always about 2 pitches behind the live action. So there's plenty of time. That's a strike, you stupid bastard. And, okay, well, let's have a look. Because it looked a foot outside to me, even up here. And that's because it was a foot outside. Jesus Christ. It was just over and over. And pretty much any ball it's like, when Nebraska was up, any ball that got to the plate through the air that wasn't called a strike, and then anytime Tennessee was up to bat, any ball through the air that was called a strike, they just went berserk. And they quieted down. They did so much screaming in the first 3 innings that the middle innings were kind of quiet. I think they, let's face it, they're not the healthiest looking crowd in the world. And I think they just screamed themselves into your heart attack level. They felt that little extra beat going, oh, better calm down, like the doctor said for me not to get too worked up. Oh, tell you what, Aaron Rostovsky is here. Let me add him to the stage. Aaron, how you doing, buddy? Aaron Rostovsky is one of our 2 baseball beat writers. They get 2. We got 2. And there we go. I was explaining to everybody how she spent like the 3 minutes before we went live just flipping me off, and God dang it, if that's not family.
Someone has to do it.
So anyway, Aaron covers baseball for us. So they had a big weekend. The baseball and softball were really following each other, all weekend long. And unfortunately, we couldn't both win. But Aaron agreed to come in and just tell us about the baseball weekend. Take us through the games and tell us about a weekend there at whatever that stupid Montgomery-looking big ballpark we have. How was that?
I'm actually down in. You can hear I'm in a hotel room with 3 7 and unders. But down in Oklahoma City, I was hoping to be a correspondent.
Well, tell us about the games. What was going on, and explain to people how they worked the tournament this year. Whereas Tom Chattel said, I believe, the Big Ten has no idea what to do with baseball.
Yeah, it was just an odd tournament format with the pool play, and the tiebreakers were the main thing. It was just strange.
What was going on there?
If you tied with the record and everyone had 1 win, then the top seed just automatically moved on. So lots of early games in the week were elimination games, and lots of meaningless games were played in the last couple days of pool play. But looked like it was going real bad for Nebraska real quick. But like always, if you give this team just a little chance, they'll grab it and take it. So they had the right fielder of Michigan State dropped what would be the very last out in the very first game, which would have eliminated Nebraska from continuing. And I think he was an all Big Ten defensive team right fielder, and he just flat out dropped it.
Yeah.
I had 1 run scored, and then went in the extra innings and walked him off. And that was against the Big Ten pitcher of the year. And so then we had to go against the guy that was the runner-up to Big Ten pitcher of the year the very next game. So, I mean, it was this pretty sweet setup for us, but we had to run a gauntlet of the actual players we were playing.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
we kind of
go
got lucky with a rain out before the Oregon game. So they had to wake up at what would be 4:30 a.m. their time on their body clocks.
Wait a minute. But I think Miley had something to say about that when we were texting about that. What did you say about that? Oh, poor Oregon having to get up at 4:30 in the morning their time.
Oh, they were in Iowa like that previous weekend, so they'd been in the Midwest for like 11 days, and so it's like that's not really an excuse at that point.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, they've been here for like 5 or 6 days. Shut up. It's like you can't get rid of your 2-hour jet lag that in 5 days, man. then you guys really, and you know, Oregon. I'm not really going to take too much complaining from Oregon, especially after they just ran roughshod through the Big Ten. They won the conference in football, basketball, baseball, softball, and I was like, screw you. Go ahead and get up at 4:30 in the morning. Let's even this out a little. You kicked everybody's ass too much.
Yeah, I was real surprised that they actually won the conference and that both the West Coast teams did in baseball, UCLA and Oregon.
Yeah.
I mean, winning in baseball is one thing, or sorry, like basketball is one thing because you fly in, you fly out. But baseball and softball, you're there for days and days, and you got to get your body adjusted and going to Rutgers and flying back. So that was kind of.
And they finished first and second in softball too. It's like Oregon finished first, and we tied UCLA for second. So then So then they come out of pool play, and they went 2-0 in the pool, which they, as you explained, they had to do.
Beat the two best pitchers in pool play, which was nice.
Got a drop from an all Big Ten defense right fielder, and then so now they're in the semis against UCLA.
Got a rematch against Penn State last year.
Penn State,
which was the championship game. And pretty low scoring initially, like the championship game was last year. Bunch of guys that hadn't pitched yet in the tournament had some pretty good outings that kept them off balance. So it was real good all around pitching effort there.
Yeah. And then UCLA, it was UCLA in the final, right?
And then UCLA, they had the Player of the Year of the conference, their shortstop.
Yeah.
And so, the top or second offense, I think, to Oregon. But they were really on fire lately.
Who was the guy that they voted MVP of the tournament?
That would be the conference player of the year.
Did you get the email like I did for softball, like in the first inning or so? Like and then you've got to turn it in by the bottom of the sixth. And I'm sitting there. I mean, I'm sitting there turning that thing in with like an out to go in the bottom of the sixth. I'm like, this game's tight. I want to give them every chance to pull ahead. But I think it was you that when we were texting suggested it's like I think they all just cast their vote for the guy in the first inning or second inning and said screw it, they're going to kill Nebraska. And it's like, well, play the game first. And then the guy who made the start for Nebraska, what was his name?
And so Ty Horn had one of the most unbelievable games of any of the conference tournament pitchers that I've seen in like 15 years, probably.
Yeah.
And an 8 innings, 118 pitches, and just shut out that highly vaunted UCLA offense.
And rolled in there with like a 5+ ERA. And
yeah, he'd really struggled at the beginning of the year.
He did not make the all-tournament team.
He certainly did not, and I would have put him for MVP if we'd been given another inning or two.
Miley, have you ever heard somebody just so many curse words unsaid by saying he certainly did not? And that voice, underneath that voice, I just heard you motherfuckers. You bastards.
Had I been not down in Texas and been in the actual press box, I would have pulled out my pistol and been like, all right, we're all staying here until we redo this.
No shit. Sit down. Let me ask you this. Oh, God, now I forgot what I was going to say. How long was that game, that championship game? And the reason I ask is...
Long as hell.
It felt, I mean, I think we were starting to get our first score updates from like the fifth inning of the when we were playing Tennessee, and we're in like the fifth or sixth maybe, but that plays out. I boom, 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 get my story in. I run over to the soccer stadium where they were doing the post-game pressers. I sit down through that. I go, and then I skip the Tennessee. Fuck you on. Nobody cares what you think. I write for Nebraska, you bitches. And so I'd say bye to everybody there that I met and take off and go to my car, make sure I got everything, get set. I'm 75 miles down the road, and this game's in like the fifth inning. Like 2 innings of softball, a press conference, and another hour and a half in the car. And I'm like, and the final ended up, what, 5-0?
5-0 effort.
And
I don't know what the
holy
actual
shit,
time was, but for a
this is
5-0
one
game,
reason.
it was long.
Oh, I just say this is one reason I've never latched on fully to college baseball, because it is so painfully long for baseball. I mean, I don't hate baseball. You know, I'm not like, oh, it's all too long and it's going long. But college baseball sometimes, oh my God, it's just. I mean, did that game get to 4 hours?
I don't think it got quite that far, but yeah, for a 5-0 game, they were changing pitchers a ton
Yeah.
in UCLA, and yeah, we only switched pitchers once, and that was in a
Okay.
going from the 8th to the 9th, so we didn't get involved in that at all. But
And we
yeah,
got that lead by about the 4th or 5th, didn't we?
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And yeah, so we got a couple runs early. They took out their starter, who I don't think they just wanted to tax him, knowing that they were going to be in the NCAA tournament. But
right, and now talk about that. Where are they going? Who's there with them? When do they play?
so that starts this Thursday, and they're going down to Chapel Hill, which I've never been, and it seems fairly winnable. They do have North Carolina won the ACC tournament. They also get Oklahoma's the 2 seed. They finished 12th in the SEC,
Okay.
and that still gets you a 2 seed. And then we've got the Big Ten tournament champions, and then the Patriot League tournament champions, Holy Cross, who, if people remember, I think it was 2017, Holy Cross ended our season up in Corvallis, Oregon.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
I tell you, it's like that gives me a reason, because so much of my love of college sports is just driven by hatred of some teams, and it just gives me a lot more stuff to be interested in. If the Huskers and Georgia's not playing, then I can, Notre Dame's on. Well, let me get my middle fingers locked and cocked, and all my dirty words to piss off the Catholics, and just K-State, Colorado, Miami, the blood still boils for. But yeah, North Carolina, they are, when it comes to basketball, they're the Notre Dame of the South. That you won't find a more entitled fan base. Let's just face it. Here's the treatment they get. What was it when Roy Williams was there a few years ago? They uncover probably the biggest cheating scandal in NCAA history, and the punishment, nothing. Like, I don't even think they put him on probation. It's like, it's kind of like when Notre Dame in '88 with Holtz, they got put on probation for 2 years, but that was about 7 years after SMU gets the death penalty, the only school to receive it, the only school that I guess it's not on the books, but it's fully agreed upon that nobody else is ever getting the death penalty. And the school that nailed that down was 87, 88 Notre Dame, because they had their own little SMU factory going, and they just said, well, we've already pretty much agreed we can't give this to anybody, and we sure as hell can't give it to Notre Dame. And boom, nothing. But and Holtz leaves like every program he coached at except William and Mary. Lou Holtz left it on probation. A dirtier college coach you'll never find. And yeah, that's just so. Yeah, so much hatred for North Carolina. I want to play them, and I just want to be losing my mind and having a great old time. So you said winnable. What do you think their chances? What would you give an honest assessment with a little dose of homerism in there on the Huskers being able to get to a super regional?
So Oklahoma's been on a tailspin the second half of the season. I think they've got like 32 or 34 wins, and 20 of those were right off the bat, basically. And so they've really struggled. Then Holy Cross, I just quickly looked at them. The year that they beat us, they had like an actual MLB draft pick that they held back to pitch to us because they knew they would beat an all-time Oregon State team. So that's the reason we lost that one. But they don't have anything like that this year.
Okay.
So really, I'd say it's kind of a coin flip with North Carolina.
Here's one thing I want to do to you real quick, is we were just talking about some of the records that the Husker women set, and what would you just tell me, like, what you think of having an offense like this? They set a school record with 107 homers, 216 extra base hits. Batting average going into the Tennessee weekend was 356, the team batting average. The team slugging was 648, on base was 438 for a team OPS of 1.086. Yeah, they 26 of their 43 games were won by the run rule of their 43 wins, and then they actually had they're the only team to have a back-to-back home run string, and the 1 through 4 hitters hit 4 in a row in one game, and then Ava Cusack, their shortstop, and Sam Bland, their third baseman, each tied a school record with 3 home run games, and Jordy hit 23 to set a single season record for that, and she batted 475, also a school record, and Ava hit 426 and then finished 4th all time, and then they also set the single game weekend attendance records and were an average 4th highest attendance in the country. So take a suck of that, everybody.
I know. If you would have looked at this baseball team when we were out at UCLA during the season, I think we had 2 guys in about 240.
Yeah.
I mean, UCLA got the 3 runs, and you're like, well, see if we can get them tomorrow, I guess.
This has been a roller coaster for them. I mean, they started the season ranked, right?
Yep.
And then they finished the season fighting for their lives to get into the Big Ten tournament. And then they win the Big Ten tournament and off to the regionals. And so that's the thing, is they're probably one of the sneaky surprise teams, because it's almost like, hey, it's postseason and they're playing like the ranked team they were supposed to be finally.
If we've been red hot here recently, and I mean, they played the toughest schedule that I've seen them play in the last 20 years. They beat the number 1 overall seed, Vanderbilt. Basically, with Gabe Swanson by himself, a couple home runs, a double, and 7 RBIs all by himself.
Mr. May.
Yep.
Gabe Swanson. That's because that's 2 Big Ten tournaments in a row that he just kind of took over, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, and he didn't get MVP last year because Josh Karen hit 6 home runs, which was a record.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't get too mad about that.
No.
But yeah, well, tell you what, gonna ramp it up on the baseball side. You're welcome to stay. We're gonna try and finish it up here in the next 5 minutes or so, or you might have to deal with a little screaming.
But I don't know if you can hear the 2-year-old that was naked except for a diaper, standing on top of the coffee table.
Well, we heard that. I'm glad we didn't see it. I can do without a baby in a diaper yelling, but I don't know. Well, I guess it depends on if he's done any damage to the diaper yet. As far as wanting to live stream that. But anyway, we're gonna finish up here. And Aaron, I do appreciate you taking time from a hotel. You're in Dallas, right?
Nope, we drove up to Oklahoma City today, so we're right on the northern part.
See, and there's the part of me that wanted to be driving down to Oklahoma City here in a few days. But I tell you what, I've been out of town for the last 5 weekends. I went Seattle, home next weekend, and then it's been West Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and Knoxville. And I'll say the winner is Seattle, with Knoxville second. I got mountains and cool weather there. I think it was like maybe 74 on Sunday was the hottest it got in Knoxville, and even then the cloud cover, I was probably in long sleeves. I had a long sleeve on to the 4th or 5th inning just because I don't want to get burned up too bad here. But
at least you got the Drew Brees meal.
What's that?
You got the Drew Brees meal.
I got the Drew Brees. Oh God, the Drew Brees. Chicken fried steak with sausage gravy. Then hash browns with sausage gravy. 2 eggs. And then the best was 2 biscuits sliced in half, and then they grilled the biscuits. It was so good.
Top it off with homemade root beer.
Yeah, well, I didn't do the root beer. I think I just went the Diet Coke route, because I think I was putting enough carbs in me without adding a can of soda between the gravy and the deep frying and all that. And it was delicious, and it was the perfect size too. It filled you up, but it wasn't one of those chicken fried steaks like at the machine shop in Des Moines.
Yeah, look what we can do.
It takes up the whole freaking plate, and it's I'm going to eat half of that and regret it. But yeah, good food. very much. It was a place called the Triple X in West Lafayette, and that was like one of the best food wrecks I got, so I appreciate that as well.
Anytime.
Oh yeah. Well, anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here. I think
We're ready. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. No. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it, and cheer them on. Go Big Red.
Yes, sir. Go Big Red.
Good. You go, diaper baby yelling man.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you, Aaron. Let's see. So, I think we got through just about everything. Right when he tapped in. So, Miley, you got your wish. We're coming in at 45 minutes. Aaron got in. We got him in time. Let's real quick. Final thoughts on on following the Huskers this season. What sticks out for you? What do you remember the best?
I think they just elevated Nebraska. I think Jordy Bahl coming to play really helped it too.
Yes.
But I think they made a lot more fans of the game this season.
Oh yeah. After one of those, was it the Maryland weekend or the home weekend before that, where I think it was the Maryland weekend, where we're sitting in there writing, and I think Amy Just from the Lincoln Journal-Star, no, it was one of the photographers had gone out and said, they were like, well, what are they doing? And she comes back in and she goes, Jordy's out there with little softball players about 5 deep and trying to sign all those autographs. So she was really good with the kids. It sounded like she would, she'd take her time, and she has said that she does want to grow the game here. And you're the rock star, so it's good to see her backing it up. And anything else, because I like that you said that. That was big for me.
Huh?
I said anything else?
Oh, no.
No. Yeah, here's what sticks out for me is with Jordy Bahl, we got everything we were advertised to get pitching wise. She 150 ERA, 26 wins, a ton of strikeouts. We got dominant All-American Jordy Bahl. But then three things that we also got that's what kind of defines the season for me. We got Jordy Bahl, the hitter, and early on we're like, wow, she's fast and she can hit a little. Oh, and she's going to set a home run record for the school, for crying out loud. Because she doesn't scream home run hitter, but she has one of those, like, I want to say Matt Olson of the Braves, kind of longer lean. I mean, she's not 6'4" like Matt Olson. She's like 5'8", but it's a lean, strong 5'8", and she really whips that bat through there. She gets a lot of power in the swing without being, like a muscled up home run hitter or anything. And we were kind of making fun of Oklahoma, and you can't really. They won the College World Series, the Women's College World Series, both years she was there. So what are they going to do? Win it more if she hits? Yeah, she only had 40 at-bats at Oklahoma, and then she comes in as an everyday player. People were worried about the injury, worried about her stamina. When she got roughed up a couple of times, do we need to rest her more? And then you just hear Rhonda Revelle at the Super Regional. She goes, well, here's the thing. She's a warrior. She wants to go out and play every inning, and she's in shape to do it. And what am I going to do? Sit her down? It's like, no, let's see what she can do. And the next thing was the big worry coming in was, we lost Billy Andrews. She was like a second, third team All-American. We lost Sydney Gray from a pretty darn good offensive team. And there's worries. How are we going to do that? And you look at the stats of the transfers we got in, and it wasn't like jumping off the page, oh my God, we're going to be this force. And I think one of the records, I had a little thing, we won't go through the whole thing, but it was just some of the records they set. Let's see.
You already said them.
That was Jordy's thing. Here was the one that got me. 11 Huskers down at the bottom there. Ball, Cusack, Squire, Cope, Sammy, Bella, Alina Felix, Hannah Kamenzen, Malia Tomes, and Lauren Kamenzen. 11 Huskers have matched or exceeded their career season highs in home runs. And that's what happened. They came in, these transfers like Cusack, the Kamenzens, Casey Hoffman, and they blew away their old stats. I mean, it was just something to see. Casey Hoffman, if I'm picking the moment that just made me go, oh shit, that didn't involve Jordy Bahl, in a home game in Lincoln, you've got the Alex Gordon Training Center out there behind right field. It's probably like a 15-yard walk from the fence to the building. So there's another 45 feet. that building's not just standing up right behind the fence. And Hoffman hit one this year, and I mean, you have those line drives that just go screaming out barely over the fence. This one was like a line drive, except it looked like it was about 30 or 40 feet over the fence because it hits the Gordon building on the side and comes flying all the way back in on the field. If you look on the right of the background picture there, you can kind of see the area I'm talking about. So this is like how far it had to come back to get back on the field. And that might have been the most powerful home run I saw all year. So that was something. But yeah, we read all their stats. So the offense just completely exceeded the expectations. It was amazing. And then finally the defense. Early in the season, the defense was a bit of a train wreck at times. And it not just got back, they fixed it, but not just adequate. It was one of their strengths by the end of the year. Cusack and Bland were over there diving and making plays. Laura Kamens and dove and made a couple of plays in game one against Tennessee and almost had another one. The outfield was running stuff down. So the defense went from being, oh my God, is that going to be the thing that sinks us at the end of the year? Or it instead became one of the strengths, and other teams were talking about it as well. Tell you what, I'm going to check.
All righty.
Yeah, I know. I didn't go to comments at all. Connor asked if I got crawdads. I actually had a crawfish etouffee for dinner today. So I did have crawdads. Let's see. Take him off. Yeah. Here's somebody that talked about this. I can't stand sitting in the stands. Fans spend the whole game yelling at refs, makes for a terrible experience. I would say that softball, at least college softball, is the biggest ump ref screaming sport there is. I still remember with people who are perfectly nice otherwise, because I still remember being at the Washington games, and on Saturday we're about to get run ruled 9-1, and the ump at the plate wasn't very good, but up 9-1, they are letting that ump have it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. And she says, it's 1970s child says that's any sport, but I kind of think, I think softball gets a little more of it. Oh, geez. Connor's cheering for the Dallas Stars, as is my buddy Trap down in Dallas. Goal Dallas. And Miley gives it back to him. Goal Edmonton.
That wasn't me.
That's not you?
No.
Okay. Another Miley Pedersen.
He has my
What's that?
He has my iPad.
Oh, okay. And then Pitt Snipe stuck in to say hello, goodbye. Jordy Bahl going to need back surgery after carrying us all year. Well, I tell you what, you don't really complain about stuff like that. That's a big part of softball. If you get that hammer on the mound, it's the kind of thing that makes or breaks your season. And yeah, hell of an offensive year, but we had the team average was 356. We had, I think, all but one starter hit over 300. Miley, are you giving me a look now?
Yes.
Okay.
We've already gone over all of that.
I know. Well, it's the last one, so you are free until I drag you on the movie pod.
No.
We'll find something for you there.
No. Nope.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for watching, listening, everybody. Miley, thanks as always. Thanks once again to Aaron Rostovsky for joining us. We just love Aaron to death. And we will see you again. Miley and I will see you again in 2026. No, in 2026.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a movie pod. And then I will see you in 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll start the summer of all the right movies. I might talk Miley into one.
No, because you'll go for 2 hours.
Well, you don't have to stay the whole time.
Well,
I won't force you in on two full hours. These guys just love to chat movies. What can I say? And then after that,
I can't talk for that long.
Yeah. Hey,
I can barely make it 54 minutes.
I know, but you're my daughter and you love me, so you do it.
Okay.
And then come August, then Husker Happy Hour will start. That's the Huskers football pod I do, and everything is always Tuesdays 8 p.m.
You
We're
need a
gonna get out of
muzzle.
here. Huh?
You need a muzzle.
That kind of defeats the purpose of a podcast.
Exactly.
I do this so I don't need my muzzle in public as often. I get it out of my system once a
No,
week.
you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
I really do. You'd be surprised.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like I'm quiet forever, but I'm certainly less. I don't go on like the 3-hour jags that some people do. Anyway, there's a couple folks down there that will just go for 3-4 hours, and if no one will talk to them, they'll talk to the TV. just want. They really Amazon's really got to start selling those stun darts. Bang. I just want to watch Face It and Bar Top so badly sometimes. But that's a tale for another time. Miley, you're free for about another 8-9 months, and at least from this, unless I drag you into the movie pod.
Oh my God.
And everybody that watched, thanks. Thanks for watching us. Thanks for playing along, and go Big Red 2026. Let that movement begin now, as Rhonda wants to try and get that top 8 seed so we can. God, I think we break the attendance records. We get a regional. Anyway, good night, everybody. Love you all. Miley, love you, kid. Thanks for doing this with me. And let's back it on out of here. Thanks, everybody. Go Big Red.